and welcome to the Neo News Today podcast. My name is Dean and I'm sorry it's been a few weeks since our last pod. We were flat out with all the excitement surrounding Neo DevCon in San Francisco, which was an absolutely amazing event. We helped present the Neo Talk at DevCon livestream, which was 4 hours of interviews with presenters from the event, co-hosted by Chico Crypto, CryptoBud, CryptoLove, and YLGV. And if you haven't already seen it, jump on YouTube and search for any of their channels, or look on our Twitter feed and you'll be able to find the full show. In this episode, I'll be speaking to Dean Van Dugteren, who is a City of Zion developer and founder of the forthcoming VDT Network. We're going to talk to him about what it's like to be in COZ and get the lowdown on the VDT project. But before we get to that, here's what you should be looking out for over the next few weeks. The 25th of February is the submission deadline for the second City of Zion DApp competition. Winners of the first competition were projects like NeoAuth, iMusify, and Switch.io, who are all moving towards mainnet releases, so this is a great place for promising projects to get started. Moving on to March, Neo are embarking on an Asia-Pacific mini-tour and will be holding community meetups in Singapore on the 3rd, Tokyo on the 5th, Taipei on the 11th, Melbourne on the 12th, Sydney on the 16th, and Seoul on the 18th. There will also be developer workshops held at the Tokyo, Taipei, Melbourne, and Seoul events, and we will be live streaming most of the meetups on our Twitter at Neo News Today. Speaking of developers, there is a developer meetup at Cambridge on March 9th, hosted by Nex and City of Zion. So if you're in the Boston area and you're a developer, that would be an excellent event for you to attend. And there is another community developer meetup being held in Toronto on March 14th. It's the first developer meetup in Toronto and thus has been dubbed Genesis Block Zero, run by the author of the Neo Quick Start Guide for .NET developers. You can head to our calendar on neonewstoday.com for links and more information on all these events. All right, now that's out of the way, let's move on to the interview. On the line, I have Dean Van Dugteren, also known as Dean Press throughout the Neo community. Dean is the founder of Click.dj, which is one of the most popular social media music marketing platforms in the world. He is also the creator of the Neo DApp Starter Kit, a member of City of Zion, and the founder of the upcoming VDT Network. It's always a pleasure to have another Dean on the show, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very good. So we've done interviews with City of Zion members on Neo News Today in the past, but you're the first member to appear on the podcast. So there might be some listeners who aren't familiar with what City of Zion is all about. So let's start with how you came into blockchain and how you found your way into the City of Zion.
So my introduction to the blockchain industry was pretty interesting. Back in 2009 or so, I had this idea to create a virtual currency. Basically, users could click on advertisements and generate coins, and then these coins could be spent on in-game items for online games. So I was figuring out a name for this project, and I liked the idea of having the word coin in it. So I looked up names like Virtual Coin, Digicoin, and Bitcoin. So I googled Bitcoin to see if it was in use, and lo and behold, I find a website titled Bitcoin, open source, peer-to-peer money. My initial thought was, oh, that's exactly what I'm doing. And then I read the white paper, and I thought, this is totally not what I'm doing at all. But I did get hooked. I started coding with the Bitcoin APIs, mining, and all that stuff. And after an amount of years of on and off experimenting and following everything there is about this amazing thing called blockchain and cryptocurrency, I learned about this thing called Ethereum, smart contracts. And then I got totally sold on that. The idea of smart contracts just amazed me. And then after an equal amount of time experimenting and coding on Ethereum, I received this little article titled Smart Contracts 2.0 and shares. Hey, you can create smart contracts in any programming language. That was my third holy shit moment. I found the ideal platform, the team, the code base, the community, everything about it was and is, in my opinion, the best. So all of these things, this series of events eventually led to me into becoming an active contributor to the Neo community. Or so I hope.
No, I think you're pretty important. That's amazing. I didn't know that you were.
I think you're pretty important as well.
Oh, thanks, mate. I didn't know that you were looking into digital currencies as far back as 2009. That's really interesting.
Pure coincidence.
You had the vision. You had the vision.
Yeah. I mean, I had the same timing of the vision, but then my currency was completely centralized and wasn't going to overthrow the way society works.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
So for any developers out there who might be listening and want to join the community, they want to get involved, what's it like being in City of Zion? Like, what do you get in terms of support, social groups, resources, and so forth?
Right. So let me tell you about how I got into City of Zion first. I started building things and making PRs, pull requests on GitHub, and I did this for a while. And then I organized the Neo meetup together with Roger Dwight and Balder Bowmans. And apart from presenting VDT Network, I also hosted the smart contract workshop. And when I was making the website for Neo Amsterdam and listing the speakers, I asked Fabio, hey, can I put myself down as a developer at City of Zion? And Fabio responded with, well, you are, so yeah, you can. So turns out I was already a developer at City of Zion for a few weeks. So that's basically how it goes down when you do stuff. And I want to point out that City of Zion is an organized group. We're a community of developers. Members of City of Zion each contribute in their own ways. For example, there are plenty of awesome projects on the COZ GitHub, which is github.com/City of Zion, which plenty of developers are actively working on. My primary contributions at the moment are going into giving dApp and smart contract development workshops at Neo meetups and conferences. The last one I gave was at Neo DevCon in San Francisco, which was awesome. It really showed how special the community is. I also got to meet a bunch of City of Zion members, developers, and council members there, and they were all just amazingly smart, fun, and sociable people.
Yeah, there was just a great vibe around that event, and every single person that that I met as well, that we've spoken to online through the community, was just a fantastic human being. So it's very encouraging to find out that behind the screen they're awesome as well. So. And not everyone starts off a blockchain developer, right? I mean, this is still new technology. So if a developer wants to step out of like regular application or web development and into blockchain development, with the community and the resources surrounding of City of Zion and the workshops and stuff you're putting together, do you think it's fair to say that it's a good place to get started if they want to dip their toes in the water?
Yeah, absolutely. Look up Neo Amsterdam Workshop on YouTube and you'll find my video explaining why Neo is so great to work with, followed by a tutorial video on smart contract development. I also recommend going to the Neo subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/Neo, and then check out the resource links on the right. Specifically, check out the Discord server. Neo has a very active Discord with developer channels for each supported programming language and just a very nice and active community. So join the Discord, converse with other developers, City of Zion members hang around there too. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and most importantly, just start coding.
Yep.
Fabio Canasin, one of the founders and council members of City of Zion, he said this thing during the Neo DevCon, during one of his panels, and he said, in order to really join the community and become a part of the Neo development community is just do. Just start doing and just start building.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people to know that City of Zion isn't closed in the fact that they keep it to themselves.
Right.
If you go on the Neo Discord and you do join those dev general channels and all the language specific ones, the members from City of Zion are there to answer your questions.
And it's not a business; it's a community. And in order to become part of the community, you just be productive. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Fabio said to me at DevCon, he said, I'm starting to think the secret of life is just to do stuff.
Right.
And he might be onto something there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So let's talk about VDT.
All right.
Now, this is your new project. And one of the things I like about this project is it seems like you had a real problem and you turned to blockchain because you think it can facilitate an appropriate solution. And I feel like with all the hype and money that surrounds blockchain, some people do this the wrong way around. You come across these projects and you just get this feeling that they wanted to use blockchain and went looking for an application, kind of putting the cart before the horse. It's like, I think you need a problem before you look for a solution, and people kind of treat blockchain as a solution looking for a problem sometimes. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey that led you to VDT, and then just go on to describe what VDT is? Because I think sort of taking that path will really help people understand the value proposition.
Yeah. First off, you're absolutely right when it comes to these companies trying to do something with blockchain and coming up with a problem to solve. You have these Fortune 500 companies, and they add blockchain to some product name, and then they're just going to be like, "Yeah, there's blockchain, and we're going to do something with it," and their stocks rise 200%. It's crazy, and yeah. VDT Network is actually a real solution that we figured out after running into a real problem. And I ran into that problem while developing a web-based application called Videato. Videato is an online app that allows you to create videos with animations and effects that react to audio. It's called Music Visualizers, and it's extremely popular within the music industry. Artists, labels, agencies, promoters, etc. upload videos with these music visualizers every day. But it takes a long time to create, render, and upload these videos. In fact, it takes 2 to 5 hours to render this kind of content on a regular machine. That's a lot of time. So Videato is an app that takes away all these hardships. It basically automates everything about creating these videos. And then Videato also renders and uploads these videos directly to your YouTube channel. And it does all these things in under 20 minutes. So that's way faster. But then a problem came up with Videato. One of the services that we use for our rendering servers increased their licensing model from 1 license per server to 1 license per 4 cores. And our render nodes don't have 4 cores. Our render nodes have 64 cores. So that made things about 8 times more expensive for us. And this is when I realized that decentralization through the use of blockchain and smart contracts would be the ideal solution to our problem. So now we're building a decentralized render farm that offers speed, performance, trust, cost efficiency, and modularity. And that decentralized render farm is called VDT Network. And any kind of application can integrate with VDT Network, and Videato will be the first web service to integrate with it. And obviously, it'll be built on Neo.
Cool. So let me just explain this back a little bit and make sure I've got the understanding right. So Videato was an application you were already working on, and that was separate from blockchain, right? So this was an application where people could take like a 3 or 5 minute music sample, a song, I guess, is a better way to describe that. And they would drop that into Videato. They would select some backgrounds, some visuals. It would create an animated video. So when people watch this on YouTube, it's got a bit of interest and something there. Now, to do that on your local computer, that would take 2 to 5 hours. But using Videato, you'll be able to compress that process down to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then when they changed, whoever you were using for your process, for your servers, they changed their licensing model. So that went from, costing X amount to costing 8 times that amount. And now with VDT, Videato will use VDT Network, which will, instead of using the licensing for the server farm, you can now delegate that task to anyone who wants to contribute a render farm processing to the network. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And they would be paid in VDT.
Yeah.
And you get around the problem of having the license cores that way because anyone can contribute their computing power to the rendering process, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. And then the upshot of this also is that Videato is not the only application that can use this. Anyone is going to be able to use the VDT protocol to utilize that network to be able to delegate render tasks and so on and so forth. That's correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sweet. And so I guess that probably ties into one of my other questions is, and I'm sure you get this one a lot, people would say, isn't VDT just like Golem? But, I understand there are key differences in the fact that VDT is a protocol and not a platform, I think. Right. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that means and what that means for users?
Yeah. So with Golem, you're somewhat reliant on the modules that they release due to the amount of work and complexity that comes with completely decentralizing everything around a rendering economy. For example, with Golem, there's a decentralized verification system that verifies whether the rendered result is correct. And this takes a ton of time to research and get right. And working or not, it's going to slow down the rendering process and make things more expensive. Now, VDT Network adopts something which Neo is very efficient with: digital identity. Applications and providers of render nodes have an identity. So both parties can make off-chain agreements and then utilize the protocol to efficiently render content. Disputes and disagreements can be handled off-chain. This makes things much faster and more efficient. Also, with VDT Network being a modular protocol, implementing the decentralized render farm with any kind of software is easier. So we'll share an open source version of Videato's integration with VDT Network, so developers have a good example and starting point for working with the decentralized render farm, along with an open source framework. And this is all in Node.js, so it's very easy to get started with. Basically, you can consider VDT Network as a decentralized modular exchange for automated computing tasks. Also a development platform.
Yeah, wow, that's really, really interesting. Awesome. And what is the potential market for this? Like, what kind of users do you see adopting this platform? Being a protocol, like you said, it can be plugged into other software. And how do you think that VDT's pricing is going to compare with other cloud rendering solutions that are already out there?
So starting off, we will have built modules to render for Adobe After Effects, which is something we haven't seen decentralized before prior to Videato and VDT Network. Now, being a modular protocol, any kind of software and plugin can integrate with VDT Network. So think the movie and TV show industry, music, of course, gaming, 3D and 2D animations, post-processing, CGI, VR, AR, anything that requires computing resources to create some sort of desired end result. Now, regarding pricing, the players in these industries I just mentioned can all enjoy the same benefits that Videato has from VDT Network. Applications and clients which used to connect directly with one render service provider, cloud-based for example, can now connect to a decentralized render economy, where render node providers can compete to give the best price-performance ratio. And next to that, the client or application no longer needs to possess any licenses for the rendering software, since this is all handled by the render node providers as well. So there's higher performance and lower pricing compared to traditional centralized solutions.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you've got all these different applications that can use VDT, but Videato is almost ready to go as far as I understand it. So from day dot, VDT tokens are going to have utility. And if I'm correct, you've already got people knocking down the door to use Videato as well, right?
Yeah, there are players in the music industry dying to use Videato. For them, it solves a huge headache. I come from the music industry originally by building ClickDJ, the music marketing application, and I also used to produce music as Apex Rise. And the consensus amongst the music industry generally was, wow, ClickDJ makes marketing my content so much easier. If only it was as easy to manage my YouTube channel. And Videato is that solution. And all these industry giants that use or have used ClickDJ are very excited for Videato. And yeah, we're already in closed beta right now, and we're being used by Trap City and a few other selected beta testers very actively every day. And they're very happy YouTubers now.
That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, that kind of fixes that cold start problem, which a lot of projects have. And for anyone who's interested, this podcast, I don't know where you're listening to it right now, but this will be on YouTube, and we're going to render this with Videato so you can see what it will look like, what it means to render one of these videos with the animated background and all that kind of stuff. We want to start putting these on YouTube anyway, so this is the perfect solution. Yeah. So yep, you can see that.
And if you'd like to see more examples, just look up Trap City on YouTube or go to youtube.com/Trap City. All of their recent videos from the past few months have been created, rendered, and uploaded with Videato.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll include that link on this page as well on Neo News Today. So if you listen to this on iTunes or something like that, you can go to the Neo News Today page, find this podcast, and we'll have that link there. So you announced this project at the Amsterdam meetup, which, by the way, listeners, was organized by Dean, and mate, you did a phenomenal job. That live stream was just fantastic.
Thank you, man. I can't take all credit for it. Roger Dwight and Balder Bowmans, both members from the Neo community, the three of us organized the event together, and yeah, it was great. We had 13,000 viewers on the live stream.
Yep, it was excellent. Well, congratulations to all three of you.
Thank you.
And you also presented VDT at DevCon.
Yeah.
So how far away is the white paper and the commercial paper?
Yeah, so this is something that the Telegram community, which you can join by going to VDT.network in your browser, has been asking for. We will release our white paper and organize our token generation event in early Q2. It's going to be an interesting TGE, as I don't think any project has ever done it in the way that we have planned. But I think people will be very satisfied with the process. And that's about all I can tell you right now.
Okay, great. So, and I guess that leads into my final point, was if people want to join the community to stay updated on things like this, or even perhaps contribute to the project. I don't know if you're looking for contributors in any sense. Where should they go? Yeah,
so if you want to join the community, you can go to vdt.network in your browser. So that's Victor, Delta, T. And we are looking for additional developers. So if you are a talented Node.js developer or Python developer or into Neo smart contracts, feel free to email contact@vdt.network and we will consider every application.
Sweet.
And you can also follow VDT_network on Twitter. And my personal Twitter account is DeanPress. DeanPress.
Fantastic. Sounds awesome. Well, Dean, thank you very much for coming on the podcast and telling us all about VDT, City of Zion, the whole lot. Can't wait to catch up with you again. Catch up with you again at the next meetup, and I hope everything continues to go really well for you, mate.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, bud.
You too.